Hello everyone, welcome back to Streed's Guide to Fraggle Rock, and today I'm reviewing Season 2, Episode 10, A Friend in Need. This episode starts out with Doc arriving home with the contents of a shipwreck. Oddly enough, he finds a nameplate inscribed La Gorgola, heavily implying that these are the ruins of a Gorgic ship. Along with this, he finds a Doozer helmet ring. It makes me wonder why a Doozer helmet ring was found on a ship run presumably by Gorgs. The Gorgs have never previously hinted at having any knowledge of Doozers, so its mysterious origins shall forever remain unknown. Anyways, Doc's curious about this bizarre object and tries on the ring. Unfortunately, it gets stuck and he attempts to take it off. By the way, Doc's voice in this episode sounds unusually deep. I think he had a cold while filming.
Where are those pliers of mine? I lent them to Ned Schimmelfinney. Don't worry, boy. I won't be long.
Back in the rock, the Fraggles are slipping around since it's Greaseberry Leaf season, and Red arrives telling Moki and Boober that Gobo is going to attempt the arduous ultimate slide, an activity involving sliding from the entrance to the garden all the way to the Great Hall in one sprightly swoop. Later, the Fraggles are gathered to see Gobo perform this incredible feat, and Gobo slides across the Great Hall with utter ease. Some time passes, and Gobo is unable to sleep from the excitement, so he decides to head out into outer space to see if he's got a postcard, and begins singing a catchy tune, reveling in his glory.
A fella came along, tried to knock me flat. Everybody told me, son, you can't fight that. But whoa, I knew I was good. Wop, bop, doodly bop, I showed him I could. A fella started drumming with a rat-tat-tat. Fella told me, sonny boy, you can't beat that. But whoa, I knew I was good. And I showed him I could.
Afterwards, Gobo's so high off his own ego, he greets Sprocket without an ounce of fear. He playfully kicks the ball away and returns back into the rock, leading to a really beautiful scene, marking the birth of Sprocket and Gobo's friendship, finally ending their misunderstood rivalry. After Gobo fails to pass the ball back, Sprocket tries to retrieve it, unfortunately getting stuck in the hole during the process. Sprocket howls for help, and Gobo discovers him trapped in the entrance. Doc returns, claiming Schimmelfinney took him to a jeweler who wanted to cut the ring off, but he refused, opting instead to go to the emergency ward. Listen, I know Doc can be a little dense sometimes, but I'm somewhat miffed by the fact that he didn't notice Sprocket was stuck and needed help. Anyways, Gobo sympathizes with Sprocket and returns to his room to get him something to eat, briefly waking Wimbley in the process. He returns with some Doozer sticks, but Sprocket isn't keen to them, and Gobo explains why he's always sneaking into the workshop, and in typical Gobo fashion, reads a postcard from his Uncle Traveling Matt. Matt accidentally locks himself in a broom closet, mistaking it for a place of meditation, and takes a calm, logical approach to finding a way out.
Help! Help! I'm trapped! I'll never get out of here! Please! Please help!
Afterwards, Gobo tries to push Sprocket out while fearing for his life. The push fails and poor Sprocket begins crying. Luckily, Gobo has a typical stroke of genius and plans to grab some greaseberry leaves from the garden to set Sprocket free. We cut to the garden and they reuse the same footage from the minstrels again. I swear, this is beginning to become the cabin from Gunsmoke from how many times it's appeared. Gobo's ego ends up getting him trapped, and we return back to Fraggle Rock, with Wimbley waking up from a terrifying nightmare. Apparently, he dreamt that Gobo was being eaten by Sprocket. When he finds Gobo's absent, he immediately panics. Back in the Great Hall, Wimbley is in a near state of incomprehensible panic. They turn him upside down, and Wimbley tells them of his dream. The Fraggles rush off to find Gobo. We return to the garden, and Gobo's distraught by his capture, singing a dreary song.
I got no answers anymore. And now I'm anybody's baby, 'cause I don't know how to get up off the floor.
This is actually the first time in the entire series we ever see Gobo cry. When I was younger, this was always so shocking to me since Gobo always portrayed himself with an unbreakable bravado. It's refreshing to see a more vulnerable side to his character. Ma overhears Gobo's weeping and her maternal instincts suddenly kick in, but upon realizing that this sound is coming from a Fraggle, she quickly darts in fright while Gobo still attempts to use this to his advantage. Back near the entrance, the Fraggles are horrified to find Sprocket chewing on Gobo's hat, fearing the absolute worst.
Why did Gobo have to get his postcard at night, Wembley?
Yeah, Wembley.
Yeah, Wembley?
Wembley?
Wembley? You monster! You ate my best friend! Wembley! No! Let me at him! Let me at him!
Afterwards, Wembley faints and the others wail in despair over Gobo's presumed demise. Back in the garden, Ma eventually caves to Gobo's crying and tries to relieve him of his woe. He explains that he needed the greaseberries for a stuck friend, and after some convincing, Ma retrieves some gorg butter. This is another scene from this episode that I really adore. It serves to humanize the gorgs and further conveys the mantra of the show, that being understanding. Gobo returns, much to the relief of his friends, with the gorg butter and sing a beautiful song about working together.
You can count on me to come as soon as you call. You can count on me. If you got tribulations in your time or in your life, you can count on me.
Count on him.
You can count on me. 'Cause I know permutations that can ease your endless strife. You can count on me.
Count on him.
And I'm here for free.
Afterwards, the Fraggles all assist Gobo to push Sprocket out and he's sprung loose. The Fraggles commend Gobo for his bravery, and Doc arrives home unsuccessful in removing the ring.
Oh, Sprocky, what am I gonna do? Huh? Oh, where have you been? Look at this. It's off. Oh, what a relief. It smells good. Not bad, but it could use a little salt.
This was one of Fraggle Rock's most crucial entries. This was the episode that turned Gobo and Sprocket from misunderstood enemies to bosom friends, providing the lesson to set aside trivial differences to assist someone in need, even if it's someone you don't entirely understand. And in doing this, Gobo gained a brand new friend. It's honestly quite heartwarming that Gobo would help Sprocket despite his fear of possibly being eaten. It really says a lot about his character. Location-wise, there isn't much new, but this is one of those minimalistic entries where the writing compensates for the lack of diverse scenery. I loved its nighttime atmosphere as well. It makes the episode feel quite soothing and tranquil. If I had any criticisms for this entry, it would probably be the uneven pacing. Sometimes it felt a bit fast, and sometimes it felt a bit slow. The songs as well are passable, but not that memorable. If I had to pick one I liked more than the other, it's definitely Count on Me. It perfectly illustrates the episode's meaning and message. Overall, this was an acceptable episode, but nothing particularly astounding. However, I do say it does a fine job at developing Gobo and Sprocket's dynamic. The rest is quite standard and could have used something more. I'm gonna rate this one a pretty okay doozer stick. Well guys, that was the review, and I will see you all next time.